Perfect Tutor here, Mr. Gilbert CJ. In this video, we are going to look at substance abuse. We are progressing indeed. So, the subtopics that we are going to look at are: 1. We would like to know what substance abuse is. Would love to know what substance abuse is. Then we'll come to classification of substances. Then classification of substances according to their effect. Then substances and their effects. Those are the subtopics that we're going to look at in this video. Okay, so let's go. Let us first understand what substance abuse is. What is a substance? What is a substance? A substance means a material or any type of matter. It can be in solid form, in liquid form, in gas form, as long as it's called a thing. It's a substance. It's a substance. Now, abuse means what? Abuse means use wrongly. Take note of the word there, wrongly. To abuse is to use something wrongly. What is a drug? A drug is anything that alters the chemistry of the body. Anything that disturbs the normal functioning of our bodies is called a drug. Therefore, substance abuse means taking something often that your body does not need and for wrong reasons. So you can say substance abuse is the taking of any substances for a wrong reason or a wrong purpose. A wrong reason or purpose. Those are the definitions you can give when you're asked to define what substance abuse is. Very good. Okay. We come to classification of substances. Since we know to say substance abuse is the taking of substances for a wrong reason or purpose. Now, we've got two classes of these same substances that people can take for a wrong reason. We have two classes. We have over-the-counter substances and controlled substances. Over-the-counter and controlled. What are these over-the-counter substances? Okay. So, over-the-counter substances are those substances which can easily be bought over the counter without any prescription and used for medical purposes such as Panadol, aspirin, Cafenol, Fancida, and Vemox. These can be bought without a prescription. No prescription from the doctor or any medical expert is needed. You can just go in the shop. I need Panadol. Give me Cafenol. They will give you. Those substances are referred to as over-the-counter substances. We come to controlled substances. These are substances that can be obtained only with a prescription. You need to have a prescription from the medical expert for you to get these substances. For example, we have morphine, Valium, cocaine, and marijuana. You cannot buy these substances without a prescription. So, those are the two classes of substances. Now, we come to classification of substances according to their effects now. According to their effects. So, we've got depressants. These are substances that slow down the action of the central nervous system. The central nervous system includes the brain and the spinal cord. So, the depressants works against the brain and the spinal cord. They are also known as sedatives or hypnotics. Examples we can give under depressants are alcohol, mandrax, and Valium. They decrease awareness and tension. But what I wanted to say is that they increase awareness when taken in small amounts. They increase awareness when taken in small amounts, but they decrease awareness if taken in large amounts. They decrease awareness if taken in large amounts. But when you take them excessively, they lead into coma. You can die. You can die. Alcohol can kill you because it works against what? The central nervous system. Those are the depressants. Keywords: they slow down the action of the central nervous system. So the impulses are transmitted at a slow rate. That's why you see a person who is drunk, acting slowly, because the brain is not communicating normally with the senses. That's how it is. We go to stimulants. These are substances that stimulate the central nervous system and they speed up the body processes they stimulate. These, the depressants, slow down. The stimulants, they stimulate and they speed up the body processes. The most common stimulant is caffeine, found in tea, coffee, chocolate, and Coca-Cola. So make sure you don't take these substances excessively. Tea, coffee, chocolate, and Coca-Cola. There are stimulants there which can speed up the body processes. They can speed up your body processes. Hallucinogens. These are substances which distort the way the brain translates impulses or messages from sensory organs, producing perceptual changes. The brain may produce images with no basis in reality, called hallucinations. You start seeing things which are not real. I've got only one person here. You are seeing three. Because the brain is not translating impulses or messages from the sensory organs normally. The eye, which is a sensory organ, is transmitting an impulse to the brain to say, oh, I can only see one person here. But since the brain is affected, it has been distorted by the hallucinogens, they need to actually interpret that impulse to be like three people. There are three people there. Saying like a person is shaking, a person is just in one position, but you are seeing like he or she is shaking because the brain is not transmitting impulses or messages from the sensory organs at a normal pace. Examples: we've got cocaine, magic mushrooms, and ecstasy. Yeah. We go to narcotics or opiates. These are substances that make the senses dull and relieve pain by depressing the cerebral cortex. So these substances are taken for medical purposes. For example, when you take Panadol, it's not that it will heal your headache. No, it will just relieve pain by depressing against the cerebral cortex. That's what it now. Cerebrum and cerebrum. So these words, you don't need to confuse them. So it depresses the cerebral cortex. The brain will stop interpreting impulses to say, oh, there is pain here, there is pain. No, the senses will become dull. Hence the brain will not be receiving anything. That's what the narcotics or opiates do. The cerebral cortex is the outer layer of the brain responsible for consciousness, including perceptual, memory, and learning. That's the cerebrum. It's the part of the brain that is responsible for consciousness, memory, and learning. So when it is affected, it is the one that even responds to the senses. So the narcotics or opiates makes the senses dull. Meanwhile, or meaning the cerebral cortex will not be responding to the senses as well. Inhalants or solvents. These are drugs found in household products such as glue. Deodorant are like perfume sprays and fuel gases. The capillary surface of the lungs allow quick absorption of the substances. Entry into the brain is fast and intoxicating effects are intense. In those are products that we use, for example, glue, they are inhalants or the solvents. They affect the normal functioning of the body. So make sure you don't smell those things. Fuel gases, perfume sprays, there are drugs there, the inhalants. Okay. That was classification of substances according to their effect. Now here, we want to discuss them one by one with their effects as well. So we're saying substances and their effects. We'll start with alcohol. What is alcohol? Alcohol is a pure colorless liquid present in drinks. So the drink is not the alcohol, but there is a pure colorless liquid. That's why you put it in Fanta, which is orange. Alcohol will tend to orange because it is colorless. People take alcohol for pleasure. Most of the medicines contain a percentage of alcohol. So alcohol is taken for medical purposes. You see? It's taken for medical purposes. Because we're saying most of the medicines contain a percentage of alcohol. That means it is useful. Alcohol is useful in medical purposes. Now, there is alcohol abuse. Is when one drinks too much alcohol too often. You drink too much, more than required. So, too much here is the key word. We go to addiction. Addiction, we are simply describing some of the terms used under this substance, which is alcohol. We've got addiction, taking something that one can not stop, or taking something regularly, or something that a person cannot do without. You become addicted. When you become addicted to alcohol, you cannot do things. You cannot work properly without drinking alcohol. Addiction is very bad. Unless you drink alcohol, you cannot work. That's how it is. Who is an alcoholic? An alcoholic is a person who is addicted to alcohol. They may ask these terms under section A. Alcoholism is a severe and potentially fatal condition caused by physical dependence on alcohol. Here is the point. Physical dependence on alcohol. It impairs physical and mental health. So, addiction, the process of being addicted. The person who is addicted is an alcoholic. Then, that condition, there is a condition that comes as a result of physical dependence on alcohol. I think you have seen this before, whereby if a person has not taken alcohol, then they start shaking. That is physical dependence on alcohol. That's what we are calling alcoholism. Good. Effects of alcohol. We are discussing them one by one. 1. Increase blood pressure and heartbeat. The blood pressure increases. So some people have got hypertension, my BP, they don't know where they got them from. That is because of alcohol. Causes violent behavior. People start fighting, people start insulting innocent ones. Alcohol. It affects the brain, distorts the way one thinks, speaks, and acts. It will distort the way you think. Causes cirrhosis. What is cirrhosis? The liver becomes fatty and enlarged, causing inflammations, vavimba, liver. It causes hypothermia, feeling warm even when in reality one is losing heat. You feel warm. Even if it's cold, you'll be feeling that like it's warm because of alcohol. It distorts the way the brain functions, so senses will not be transmitted normally. Distorts perception of time and space and have double vision. Unclear objects. You start seeing double things. There is one cup, you are seeing two cups. Okay. It's because of alcohol. These are the effects of what? Alcohol. Good. We got to another one, which is tobacco. Tobacco is made up of some chemicals which are poisonous when one smokes as it enters the bloodstream. So tobacco contains 3 substances, which are carbon monoxide, tar, and nicotine. Carbon monoxide, tar, and nicotine. So, what is carbon monoxide? This is a deadly gas that affects the blood's ability to carry oxygen around the body. It's a gas. When you're smoking, there is that gas. That's what we call what? Carbon monoxide. It's very dangerous. It combines with what? It combines with oxygen to make a very difficult to associate molecule, which is, if I can remember very well my biology there, carboxyhemoglobin. It makes carboxyhemoglobin. Now, when it forms that, the carboxyhemoglobin is not easy to dissociate from hemoglobin. So it will be preventing red blood cells which have the hemoglobin that absorbs oxygen to absorb the oxygen and transport it to the parts of the body. Because carbon monoxide will accommodate itself into hemoglobin. But hemoglobin wants to absorb oxygen, but it will not because of the carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is deadly because once your body has less amounts of oxygen, then that's very dangerous. The second one is tar. Tar contains a number of substances that cause cancer. Tar is a carcinogen. It causes cancer. We go to nicotine. Nicotine is the very powerful drug that makes the heart beat faster. So nicotine also accumulates itself in the coronary arteries, the arteries that supply the heart with oxygen or with nutrients. So when it accumulates itself there, then it brings about deadly conditions such as sclerosis, of course thrombin, whereby your coronary arteries become blocked. That's what we call now heart attack. You have heart attack and boom, you die from nowhere because the heart has no oxygen. That's how it is. So these are the 3 substances that are found in tobacco. 3 substances. Effects of tobacco. Bronchitis. It causes bronchitis. emphysema, lung disease which affects breathing, heart disease, because nicotine increases the heartbeat and so wears down the heart. Nicotine will increase the heartbeat, so the muscles of the heart will be worn out. That's how it is. Then cancer. Smoking causes about 90% of deaths from cancer. 90% of cancer is caused by smoking. Blood clots and stomach ulcers. Damage to unborn babies. Carbon monoxide is very deadly. Shortness of breath. Colds, flu, and other infections. You start coughing because of smoking. You see, non-smokers inhale smoke, which make them passive smokers. You don't smoke, but because you stay with people who smoke, you are inhaling the same as smoke, or which is containing carbon monoxide, and then you are being affected as well, but you don't smoke in the actual sense. The last one is deforestation. You agree with me, those who have been to different farms or where they produce tobacco, they use firewood in order to process it. So they cut a lot of trees. They cut down a lot of trees so as to process tobacco. So that brings about deforestation. Effects of tobacco. Done. Cannabis. What are cannabis? This is very dangerous. This is a hard brown material or herbal mixture that comes from a cannabis plant. We've got a cannabis plant. 3 forms of cannabis. Marijuana. This comes from the dried leaves, flowers, or stems of the cannabis plant. It has a concentration of delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol of about 0 to 12%. This is a very deadly substance. Very deadly. Cannabis. Chamba. This is chamba. Weed. This is weed. So, the marijuana is taken from the dried leaves. The leaves are dried up, then the flowers or the stems of the cannabis plant. It's a plant ya chamba. Then we've got the hashish. This is made from the dark stick resin of the plant and contains THC of about 12 to 18%. So you may be asked, tetrahydrocannabinol amounts in what? In marijuana is 0 to 12%. In hashish, 12 to 18%. The last one is hashish oil. These are the forms of cannabis. Hashish oil is made by compressing hashish to produce oil using a solvent. So you can use a solvent here, you can use water just to dissolve the hashish. When you compress it, then it will form an oil. Concentration of tetrahydrocannabinol is about 18 to 25%. So hashish oil is more dangerous than the other two. It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous. The hashish oil. It's deadly. Let us talk about the effects of cannabis now. The effects of chamba, the effects of weed. They ask in the exam sometimes. Very simple, huh? Very simple. Street name for cannabis. The name that you can find on the street for cannabis. Chamba. Ibange. Those answers will be there. You put. They ask. Just simple questions. And then you fail. Causing craving for certain foods. They will increase appetite. Person with chamba, shomek, Nshima, eating Nshima 4 plates, 5 plates. Cannabis, it increases what? Appetite. making most users relaxed and talkative. Talking just anyhow, talking becomes talkative. Making users paranoid and anxious depending on their mood or situation. Things they don't even see. No, I'll do this, because they become affected mentally. So they become paranoid and anxious. Causing health problems such as cancer and respiratory disorders. Cancer, respiratory, this is something that has to do with the breathing. So it also affects that. Affecting the reproductive system by reducing sperm count in males while irregular menstrual cycles in females. So as a male, you start producing low amounts of sperms. Hence, chances of reproducing are slim. The chances are slim because you'll be having low sperm count. In females, it causes irregular menstrual cycles, the menses. You find that this month, a woman has got the peace, the period. This month, the next month, no peace. That month, no peace. After 3 months, again. So cannabis also causes that. Affecting memory and coordination. Memory, you will not remember what you did. Coordination, you don't know where you are standing, because the brain, through the medulla, not the medulla, but the cerebellum. The cerebellum is the one that works with the coordination, that will make you know where you are standing, the position. So this will affect your brain, and you become less aware. You become unaware of where you are standing. Why? So a person who was taking cannabis, actually they misbehave. They actually shake. They don't even know where the correct way is. Find that the right way is this one. I know, because there is no coordination. Leaving users feeling exhausted. You feel exhausted. So this is very dangerous. We go to heroin. Heroin is a brown or white speckled powder made from juice extract from unripe capsule of the poppy plant. So heroin is made from the poppy plant. Poppy plant, they may ask. It is made from the process of modifying morphine. So there is a process they use when modifying morphine. That process is called acetylation. So during that process, heroin is also produced. So the seed capsule of the green opium produces a milk juice from which main drugs can be made, such as morphine. Morphine is used for medical purposes. But heroin, which is the product that is produced when modifying morphine through the process of acetylation, is a drug. Altogether, it's a drug. Let us look at its effects. The effects: depresses some brain cells or stimulates other types of brain functions, leading to disturbed pattern of nerve activity perception. It affects the brain as well. Loss of appetite, chronic constipation. Start having difficulties when you go to the toilet, actually. Death due to overdose, you can die. Urge to commit suicide. Always thinking of killing yourself. That is because of heroin. Irregular menstrual cycles in women. So heroin also causes irregular menstrual cycles in women. Make sure you understand, make sure you master these effects for each of these. No, okay. Alcohol, terms which are used under alcohol, this. Effects, done. You go to cannabis, this and this, effects, done. That's how it is there. That's how it is. We have cocaine, which is a white powder made from the leaves of a coca bush. White powder. Careful with this one. The coca plant is mainly grown in coastal plains of the Atlantic Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. This is where these plants are grown, where they take what? Cocaine. Cocaine is usually smoked. You smoke. But it can be injected into the blood and can also be taken orally by mixing with liquid or in a capsule form. In a capsule form, you just take it. Effects of cocaine. Effects. Irregular menstrual cycles. Irregular here. Menstrual cycles. Transmission of diseases such as hepatitis and HIV/AIDS using hypodermic needles, because we are saying it can be injected. So you see, those people, when they are abusing or when they are using these drugs, they become senseless. Their brains are affected. So you may find that they just get this needle, they get cocaine, they put into this person, they get the same needle, they inject cocaine into another person. So that will bring about transmission of diseases such as HIV and hepatitis. Over alertness and elevation of mood. Over alertness. You become over alertness, whereby this is the one that those people fight what restraint they use. A person will lift a thing which is very heavy. It cannot be lifted by a human who is normal. It cannot. But because of cocaine, it brings about over alertness and the elevation of mood. Your mood will change. Dry mouth, no more much. Sweating, severe weight loss, you lose your weight. Exhaustion and lack of sleep, insomnia. Sleep, you lack sleep, you cannot sleep, you try to sleep, nothing. You try to sleep, it's because of cocaine. Digestion problems, ulceration of the nasal passage. The nasal passage, here we're talking about the nose, here, the nose, the nose. So there may be some sores, vironda, in your nose, because they just do. So during that process of, they're trying to take in cocaine, so they will bring about ulceration, some sores in the nose, the nasal passage. Heart and blood circulation problems. The heart will be having problems there. Then you can die due to overdose. You can die. Cocaine can kill. Okay.